could give everyone in here like maybe a rudimentary drum lesson about New Orleans drumming that maybe even a child could understand?
The thing about New Orleans drumming is it changed a little bit. I guess the first form of New Orleans drumming would be the brass band. So obviously you had two drummers in the band to do that. You had somebody playing the bass drum, you had somebody playing the snare drum. And in the early stages of brass band drumming, it really came from drum marches. You had people like John Philip Sousa, he had a band, and the traditional marches were more like this. Most people are familiar with that, right? Just like a military march from way back in the day. Well, we had this place called Congo Square in New Orleans. In New Orleans, where the slaves would gather to communicate and play music, and with the influence of the African rhythm. The way we actually got jazz is the African musicians took up the European. A lot of, whenever they would have a war or a battle of New Orleans or things were going on, the military would, people would be getting shot and, drop trumpets, and they had all kind of instruments all over the place. So the slaves would go and get those instruments and learn how to play them. And they did that with the drums. And just by the African influence, the way they feel six, they started to improvise those snare drum and bass drum rhythms. So they took the early rhythms, which was usually like 1 and 3 on the bass drum. We kind of kept that in the brass band tradition. And they also changed it to like a samba groove, which I'll do play a little bit of in a minute. But they interpreted the snare drum rhythms more with a swung triplet feel. And Johnny was talking about this. It's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of like the things in between the rhythms that make all of the difference. And even when you see somebody doing a second line dance, you can see somebody just do a 1 and 3 kind of regular dance, and then you see somebody do a 1 and 3 doing a second line dance. There's a different swing and rhythm to it. Well, it's the same thing with the drums. So let me see if I can play that, just to explain, see if I can explain it a little bit better. Here how I changed up the feel of the triple, and it just became funkier, right? I didn't do anything different. I kept the bass drum the same, I kept the hi-hat the same. So that was the influence of the African rhythm into the second line beat, which was the early stage. So it went from there into more of a drum set style of playing. So then you had piano players, you had, like Jelly Roll Morton and people who were like, playing clubs and bars and, brothels and places like that. And you had guys like Buddy Bolden that came along. Actually, Jelly Roll and Buddy Bolden, I'm not sure who was responsible for putting the first rhythm section together, but it kind of changed. Those guys came along and they started playing press rolls on the drum set, which kind of, it wasn't really like the brass band type of playing, since you had the instruments and people were sitting down playing written music. It was a little bit different. That kind of sounded like this. Swing to it, but that's more what they played behind a band, you know, a formal band, which kind of changed the rhythm a little bit. So it wasn't a brass band kind of feel. It was more, that's how they swung back in the day until the ride cymbals came. They played kind of like 4 on the floor and a lot of press rolls. That would be the earliest, you know, stages of New Orleans drumming. Then it kind of, the brass band style of drumming kind of evolved over the years, and then the sango pattern was kind of introduced into the New Orleans street beat, and it kind of changed the vibe of that. So that kind of sounded like this. Maybe some patterns or licks that he would play, and then the avant-garde thing is just free, so I can just play whatever I play is avant-garde. You know, I just make something up. So let's see. Sound to it, right? Well, Tony Williams started out playing that way because he loved Philly Joe Jones, but he didn't really play it. He didn't play that way. He played that way early in his career, but he was kind of, to me, one of the most influential drummers because he went from playing like that to playing a more modern style where it was more open and free, but not totally free. And then he influenced a lot of drummers after him. So, you know, got guys like Billy Cobham, Jack DeJohnette, Dennis Chambers. I mean, Tony Williams really influenced an entire generation of drummers after him, which is still out there playing. So I thought I'd give you, an example of something that he did. But the language is different. You know, Tony was a technical drummer, but he didn't play these kind of typical licks like a lot of bebop drummers play. They would do things like this. And the music kind of dictated that because you had a certain type of structure. You know, the instrumentalist played a certain kind of way. It was a language that was just kind of happening at the time. You know, Charlie Parker. Listen to Charlie Parker and Dizzy, and those guys playing the music that they were playing at the time, and then fast forward to Miles Davis's quintet, there's distinctive differences in approach to the music. You know, those guys were coming out of Coleman Hawkins and Dexter Gordon and people who were out there still in the music history, Louis Armstrong, and then they came up with bebop, which was kind of more hip, a lot more different way of interpreting changes. Which had a real hip swinging kind of feel to it, but it was like I guess jazzy is such a cheesy word, but it was just hip, and it went from that to cool jazz, where Miles was just kind of doing his things with his sextet, with Cannonball, where they would just kind of swing and play, all blues and soul run and just real.
Long term, after you're done with all this work you're doing, you got time to yourself.
I don't ever think about being done. Like we don't do that. I saw Elvin Jones playing his last few concerts, and his wife was bringing him up to stage with a dialysis machine.
But if you have any further questions for Mr. Rose, he has time. Make sure you go up and talk to him, all right? Give him one more hand, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for enriching our lives through your words and your music, brother.
Thank you.
Have a good one, all right? Thank you.